He was a very unique child. I noticed that everything he put his hand to came easily to him. I like sports. I can't live without them, and I can't imagine my life without sports. Faster, higher, stronger, and even bolder, harder, and more confident, 15-year-old Davyd Polianskyi lives according to these principles. He's a multi-time Taekwondo champion in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. In the past few years, Davyd has performed individually, showing his incredible technique of movements and complex acrobatic skits. Davyd got into sport thanks to his father, Andriy, who himself began with karate and then became interested in Taekwondo. Davyd was growing up, and I wanted to find an occupation for him. So I decided to get him involved in sport. When he was 8.5 years old, I took him along to training. I just wanted to see whether or not he would get interested in it, because I understand that every child has his or her talents, and I was ready for the fact that I would seek other options if he does not like this sport. First, the athlete focused on sparring, kirugi. It was not easy at the beginning of training, and there was even a point when he wanted to leave the sport. I think that every child goes through such a period. At this point, parents should see how to proceed or maybe insist on their own viewpoint. Sometimes there are such times. We have agreed with him that he would go in for this sport within a month, and if he does not like it, then we would change the sport or his activity. Almost 2 months later, a young athlete took part in his first competition. And this is no simple competition, but the championship for all of Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. So he took part in regional championship for the first time, where he had 2 duels, and the third fight was final. At the time, he was about 9 years old, but he has already become champion in his weight and age categories. Earning the title of regional champion at such an early age left no doubt that Davyd needed to continue engaging in this sport and attain even greater achievements. But if truth be told, fate adjusted the plans of this young athlete. Back in 2015, he had a difficult period in his life. Davyd underwent surgery on a kidney. The recovery period lasted about a year. After that, he started training again. Watching him, I noticed that he had already reached the level whereby he had to move ahead and develop. The family decided to move from Nikopol to Kiev. Davyd was not going to leave his favorite sport despite bans imposed by his doctors. After we moved to Kiev, we looked for sports schools where to train. I decided to train at a school that was closer to home, and pumps, freestyle and acrobatics were there. There were also sparring. First I was involved in sparring, but then I got to prefer acrobatics. Freestyle differs from pumps in that it's performing acrobatic elements to music, and pumps simply consists of ordinary exercises, punch protection. If someone punches you, you can block the punches. He likes this kind of sport, and I did not stop him doing it. I did not impose my own point of view. I just needed to see and understand that he would develop in this sport. He decided what to do by himself. When Davyd started training at our school, he had been already well trained, because he was engaged in sparring techniques previously. Therefore, training came easier for him than for other beginners. He is good at presenting himself to the audience. A good coach trains him. This is my assistant and pupil.
С ним работает хороший тренер.
It was not easy for Davyd to start almost from scratch in a field that was almost totally unknown for him, Taekwondo. A new team, new coaches, terms and conditions. At the school where I trained earlier, the names of the elements are similar to the names at this school, but the pronunciation is different. It was difficult for me to get used to different pronunciation of these words. But when you get into this environment, you get used to it. You start understanding these terms too. To remember the names of the elements is only half the battle, but to perform all of them requires many hours of hard work and even serious injuries. One day I was doing a backward somersault. I learned how to do it. We were jumping from mats on the floor, although the coaches backstopped me, but I got scared and failed to land on my left hand properly, and so broke it. It's not that hard to do a backward somersault. It's more difficult to do a circular motion. It's very hard for the brain. When you do such an element, you get lost in space and fall. It's very hard for me. When I learned to do one element, the twist, I got lost in the air and started to spin around. I couldn't understand where the ground was and where I had to land. But young athletes are taught how to fall correctly and so avoid injuries. We're taught what movements to perform in the event of a fall. In order to fall correctly, we should put the chin down onto the chest and bend the arms. In order to avoid fractures, we should bend the back. Everything depends on the element we perform. Looking at the elements Davyd performs, you can't believe your eyes, and our young athlete does so without any problem. For example, he jumps over 8 people at the first attempt and shows the amazing possibilities of the human body. He was a very unique child. I noticed that everything he put his hand to came easily to him. My friends who've known him since his childhood called him Davyd Andreevich, which is his patronymic. He's a calm and goal-oriented boy. He knows what he wants. He never gives up and always achieves his goals. I hope he will never lose these good qualities. Thanks to that feature, plus his persistence and hard work, Davyd was invited to join the team and perform in a large-scale television talent show. And this happened after a couple of months of training. At that moment, I already knew how to perform certain acrobatic skits and movements, so my coach suggested to me that I take part in this show. We agreed and started to train. We prepared for the performance and did everything in a very cool way. It was very difficult for all the guys. Sasha is a good coach. I would say he's a perfectionist. So he does not stop until the performance is perfect. Although everyone will like it and he will not like it, all the same, he will work until he achieves his goal. The guys were so exhausted. They even cried. The training sessions were very difficult for them. They were very exhausted when leaving the gym. But the performance they showed on the stage looked very easy and high quality, though training took several hours a day. They had 2 to 3 training sessions, less than 5 hours. Sometimes they worked 6 hours a day. It's always difficult to train because I am a tough coach and I demand a lot. We brought together talented athletes of our school and decided to show them freestyle and the Taekwondo demonstration technique.
Эй, алло! Олег! Мала! Хо-хо! Нічого собі!
It is more comfortable for Davyd to perform alone because he knows that he can rely only on himself. And in the event of failure, he'll only have complaints against himself. I worry all the time. It is steady stress for me. I'm nervous before a performance in order for everything to be good. But then I gather my strength, appear on the stage and do everything. I've already got used to all of this, and each new element is similar to another. Perhaps it differs from other elements a little bit when you turn differently or hit differently. But I get used to these movements. I won't stop doing these acrobatic elements until I have managed to get them right. Only the closest people to Davyd can guess his warrior performances. It's almost unnoticeable from the side. And even when something goes wrong, the Taekwondo fighter pretends that nothing has happened. There have been competitions where we had to perform not to other music, but rather to a different sound of music. We were performing in a big hall, and the acoustic systems were bad, and it was very hard to hear. My friend and I performed freestyle to the same music. He got very confused, because they put on different music, which he knew nothing about. So he had to perform freestyle elements from memory. The All-Ukrainian Martial Arts Games were held recently in Kiev. The winners of the games will represent Ukraine at the World Games in Budapest. Davyd Polianskyi is among them. I will perform without a team at this competition because our team did not take part in the qualifying competitions. I performed alone and won first prize. If an athlete gets first place, he or she takes part in the competition. Davyd is focused solely on winning, and he knows for sure that no victory is achieved without serious hard work, a tempered character and support. This is the merit of his coaches and, of course, his hard work. Because we talked with him, in order to achieve high results, he needs to work very hard. I would say that I am the one who motivates him. Sometimes he has a slump in activity, just like other people. So I try to support and motivate him in such difficult periods. Their coaching staff is very good. They also motivate children. The atmosphere at training is also excellent. We have training that is full of fun. The coaches invent a lot of interesting movements and acrobatic elements. We can do jumps at training, which we like to do very much. Our coach likes capturing each our training session on video. Davyd likes spending his leisure time in the countryside, meeting friends, and he enjoys video blogging, though all his hobbies are somehow connected with sports. He is very enthusiastic about this activity. Sometimes it is very difficult for him. Coming back home, he feels washed out. His whole body is in pain. But after rest and sleep, he feels better and says, "I'm going training." But you need to rest. No, I will go. It is so funny there, and I like it. Sometimes we wrestle with him at home or in the outdoors. I try to spend less time with him than earlier because he is already an adult, and he has his own friends and own interests. He is already able to entertain himself. Sport is my life, I like it very much. But when I don't have training, if it is a day off or a holiday, I do not know what to do at home. I don't want to go for a walk. Sometimes I want to go for a walk when I have training, but all the same, I go to the gym. We're convinced that Davyd's triumphant victory lies ahead of him. His sports career will reach its peak, and his star will shine over the sporting Olympus. I would like to achieve even better results, to take part in another World Championship and get a medal place, at least third or second spot. The next World Championship will be held in Denmark in 2 years' time, and I hope that we will go there and bring back a medal.
Мы, может, поедем туда и планируем там занять призовое место.
Daring and talented, courageous and restless, independent and happy kids. They are our future. They're the future of Ukraine.